Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sustainability, Inclusion, and Youth Advocacy Workshop. My name is Kelly Tung, and I am the Executive Director of the Youth Environmental Power Initiative. Thank you for tuning in to our virtual workshop, and we are very honored to be part of this year's City of Cupertino's Virtual Earth and Arbor Day Festival.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mira and a leader of the outreach team at YEPI. We are very excited to have our speakers inform you on their choice of environmental speeches and hope that you will gain valuable knowledge from their presentations, as well as be inspired. Thank you.
Here are the topics that we'll go over today. Our first segment will be Engage and Empower Teens in Climate Action, where Mira and I will detail projects that Youth Environmental Power Initiative has worked on to help combat climate change. Our second segment will be Youth Environmental Advocacy, where June will talk about the importance of youth advocacy and the variety of ways in which you can advocate for the environment.
After June, Avishi will begin her presentation on inclusion and environmental justice to discuss how the combination of racial inequality and saving the planet. Following that, Zehra will highlight how sustainability in the meat industry will be overall beneficial for our planet.
Let's start off with our first segment for today, which is Engage and Empower Teens in Climate Action. Our mission is to empower youths to raise awareness for sustainability and environmental justice, promote alternative transportation, advocate for safe walking and biking, and inspire teens to find their voice and take action. We develop sustainability leaders through project-based learning, education, service learning, community engagement, innovative research, and environmental advocacy. YEPI utilizes a variety of projects and platforms to make positive changes for our environment. We create videos as a fun, effective, and powerful way to educate youths about green solutions and issues in the world. We believe that our videos deliver strong and memorable messages and will help youths develop and carry green habits into adulthood. In fact, our Preventing Pollution and Renewable Energy videos will be played later today, so stay tuned. Youth Environmental Power Initiative also promotes teen engagement in legislation and advocacy to help make a cleaner and healthier environment. We had several YEPI members voice their full support for the Ragnar Creek Trail at the City Council meeting on November 17, 2020. Our advocacy was a success, and the Ragnar Creek Trail was passed. However, it took more than 2 years for the construction of the Ragnar Creek Trail to get approved by City Council. I remember speaking multiple times at the City Council meetings and at the Cupertino School District Board meetings since the age of 13. There were many opposers for this project, but the reason why I and many other supporters did not give up on advocating for the trail was because we knew that our advocacy would significantly improve the quality of life for around 60,000 Cupertino residents and help build a happier, safer, and cleaner city. Community advocacy is truly important, and YEPI wants to inspire teens to make a change and benefit the community through their advocacy. We have also been working closely with Walk by Cupertino to advocate for the Carmen Bridge, and many of our members have signed the Carmen Bridge petition. YEPI also sent a letter of support for the City of Cupertino's grant application for a study of separated bikeways on Blaney Road. Additionally, Youth Environmental Power Initiative hosted the YEPI Sustainability Summit this February, one of the biggest virtual environmental conferences in the community. We invited various environmental leaders to speak about a diverse range of sustainability topics and provided students with the knowledge and skills they needed to create, design, and implement new environmental projects to save our planet. Next, I'll hand the microphone on to Mira, and she'll describe some other projects that YEPI has been working on.
Thank you, Kelly. YEPI has also organized an environmentally centered art contest, which allowed students from the Bay Area to illustrate images that reflected one climate change related topic. And on this slide, you can see a few of these illustrations. Through this contest, our community was allowed to combine their artistic selves with their environmentally advocating selves and to find the greenness within their lives. We have also involved the community in a different way, through a newsletter that contains information that is beneficial to the community as a whole. For instance, we have released one of these newsletters discussing topics like sustainability in the Bay Area, our home, and compared it to sustainability in the whole world. Another form of our environmental education that we have produced is that of the Santa Clara County Social Distancing Flyer, as seen on the slides. We partnered with the Santa Clara County Health Department to create a flyer that resonated with teens regarding the topic of social distancing. We are also currently furthering our environmental advocacy by doing impact projects, which are in effect opportunities for members of YEPI to take action themselves in leading and participating in projects that directly benefit our environment. One of these projects is growing an organic backyard, something that benefits both our world and the specific member partaking in that specific project. If you're interested in any of these items that Kelly and I have previously discussed, please apply to be a member of YEPI. We would love to have you. Our socials will be linked at the end of the presentation.
Now that you've learned about how Youth Environmental Power Initiative inspires teens to take climate action, let's understand why youth advocacy is so important and the variety of ways that youths can advocate for the environment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Youth Environmental Advocacy Workshop hosted by the Youth Environmental Power Initiative. My name is Wang, and I currently serve as the Ambassador Lead for YEPI. Today, I hope to teach you about how student and environmental advocacy are two overlapping actions you can take to directly help the environment and make your position clear on climate change and other crises. Firstly, what exactly is advocacy? Advocacy is defined as a public support for a particular cause or policy, and as a student, you can do both to support the fight for planet Earth.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I am 15 years old and I'm from Sweden. I speak on behalf of climate justice now. Many people say that Sweden is just a small country and it doesn't matter what we do. But I've learned that you are never too small to make a difference. And if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school, then imagine what we could all do together if we really wanted to. But to do that, we have to speak clearly, no matter how uncomfortable that may be.
As seen here, advocacy is important to allow for change to happen worldwide. Advocacy is empowering and leads to action at the global stage. Most importantly, you can make a difference. Standing for a cause may be intimidating, but as long as we put our hearts into it, together we can make lasting change. As students and pioneers of the future, it is our ability and goal to improve Earth and keep it thriving in the far future. With student advocates, people who are in grades K to 12, as well as higher education institutions, student advocacy is done with the future in mind. This is reflective of the future generation and ideas, with students leading the climate revolution, notable activists like Greta Thunberg and others inspiring people globally to participate in climate justice and helping to save the Earth. We can also do legislative advocacy, which includes petitioning for particular bills to be passed or proposing actual legislation itself. For instance, the toxic pesticide DDT was banned in 1972 after many people protested its environmental consequences. This is one example of advocacy getting things done and bringing our world one step towards a greener future. The banning of DDT was done through participating in government, which has 3 levels to participate in: the federal, state, and local levels. At each, you can attend representative meetings, whether that be for city council, Congress, or other levels. Additionally, you can create petitions and spread awareness to the public to gain support for your cause, doing research and reaching out to professionals like climate scientists and speakers to further the reach of your initiative. I'll go to show that advocacy works. In the city of Cupertino, since 2017, there was a proposition for a new biking trail and fencing to be built in a particular area. There was a variety of opinions from Cupertino citizens as to whether the trails should be built or not, and ultimately, through 3 years of student advocacy, including letters and emails, speaking at city meetings, and overall awareness, in 2020, just last year, the motion was passed for the trail to be built. Now, a trail is being funded and built for all the students in Cupertino to use, and as seen here, advocacy is an extremely fulfilling experience, as advocates not only impact their own lives, but also those of people who may not be able to speak up on their own. All this goes to show, your student environmental advocacy has long-lasting positive impacts, helping to improve your community and the world one step at a time, or one bike ride at a time. Let's take initiative as youth to fight for the future. Together, we can participate in student and environmental advocacy and make lasting change.
Thanks, June. That was an incredible speech. Now we will transition to environmental justice, a topic prevalent right now in regards to the current climate regarding saving the planet and fighting oppression. Through this speech, we hope to bring to light how racial equality and environmental advocacy intersect.
Hi, my name is Avishi Trivedi, and I'm a sophomore at Silver Creek High School and the Technology Director at YEPI. I'll be talking about inclusion and environmental justice. Environmental justice is the fair treatment and distribution of resources and environmental benefits. Everyone is treated fairly regardless of race, color, national origin, or income. Environmental justice impacts the environment and the living conditions of our planet. It protects people from health hazards, leading to a safe, stable, and equitable planet. We need to get rid of these injustices in order to come together as one to protect our planet and environmental communities. What is environmental justice? Environmental justice is concerned with making sure that A, no community takes on an unfair share of environmental burdens, and B, environmental benefits are shared in an equitable way. It challenges environmental injustices with a special focus on racial and class disparities in the US and around the globe. Essentially, it's equality with respect to development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. What should we do? Environmental justice requires that we as individuals make personal choices to use the least amount of Earth's resources and to produce the least amount of waste as possible, and to make the conscious decision to challenge and reprioritize our lifestyle to ensure the health of the world for present and future generations. We need to change. As our planet continues to warm, forest fires burn, and plastics dump into our oceans, and natural disasters worsen, we are witnessing an increase in negative impacts. We must keep in pace with the rapid degradation of our world, challenging us to understand environmental problems like environmental degradation and climate change, and how it impacts humans. We have lifetimes of relearning to do around the notions of community, trauma, and social injustice. When we recognize who is the most at risk, we find institutional harm is interwoven with the impacts of climate catastrophes. Understanding this and fighting oppression help us create an environmentally just future for all. Contributing factors and impacts. Environmental justice requires that we incorporate racial and socioeconomic justice into the way that we fight for the protection of our planet. Exploring impacts like the way global warming harms low-income communities is critical to understanding how our fight must be won. Environmental justice challenges us to center the voices of those most impacted by environmental harm in the fight for the protection of our planet. And it's not just communities of color or minority groups that are at risk from environmental injustices, it is everyone, you and me included. To protect our world and our natural resources, we need to fight for justice for all people and leave no one behind. This means recognizing the unique challenges faced by our most marginalized communities. Protecting our planet. Only once we achieve environmental justice can we protect our planet. Environmental justice calls for universal protection from nuclear testing, extraction, production, and disposal of toxic or hazardous waste, and poisonous and nuclear testing that threaten the fundamental right to clean air, land, water, and food. Environmental justice demands the cessation of the production of all toxins, hazardous waste, and radioactive materials, and that all past and current producers be held strictly accountable to the people for detoxifications and the containment at the point of production. Environmental justice protects the plant, animal, and human lives as well as our community from toxic chemicals that are harmful. To conclude, it is time to take initiative and acknowledge the harm that environmental injustices have caused and do the work required for a just future. Building a more peaceful world for all requires a diverse, multicultural, people-powered force that centers the protection of our planet. Environmental justice needs to be achieved.
Thank you, Avishi, for your inspiring speech on environmental justice. Youth Environmental Power Initiative stands in solidarity with all diverse groups of people. The color of our skin and the income that we earn should not impact the quality of water we drink and the air that we breathe. Next, we'll be hearing from Zehra about sustainable meat production and the effects of unsustainable meat production as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Zehra Naqvie and I'm the editorial director for YEPI, and I'm currently a student at Kennedy Middle School, and today I'm going to be talking about sustainable meat production. Meat, although may be delicious, it accounts for up to 14.5% of greenhouse gas emissions, which is one of the largest contributors to climate change, according to the FAO. More specifically, meat production has different aspects that affect the environment, and today we'll be covering the three main aspects. First, we'll look at land use. Then we'll take a deeper dive by looking at how oceans are affected. And lastly, we'll end off by taking a look at water usage. But first, let's take a look at the amount of land being both wasted and land that's affecting the environment. Millions of acres have been plowed over for large monoculture crop fields dedicated to feeding livestock. And these millions of acres of land weren't just plots of land that were lying around. Deforestation is the way they are able to make space for these large plots of lands to grow animals. Deforestation for agriculture is a problem in South America, but the Midwest is losing its native prairies and grasslands for farming. And even South Pacific Islands are going through this problem. Samoa, one of the largest Pacific islands, is cutting down approximately 15,000 trees in 1 year. But that isn't the only problem. Crop fields are treated with toxic chemicals and doused in fertilizers, usually in higher quantities than the plants can use, and excess water runs off into surrounding waterways. If we take a deeper look into fertilizer, manure is typically stored in open lagoons that are susceptible to overflow during flooding or leakages due to faults. And this releases harmful substances like antibiotic, bacteria, and pesticide into the environment. And as the manure decomposes, it releases emissions including methane, ammonia, and carbon dioxide. Therefore, because of the deadly fertilizer and the amount of trees that are being cut down for the sole purpose of growing and raising animals affects the environment heavily. But land isn't the only environment being affected. While unsustainable farms are ruining our land, commercial fishing methods such as bottom trawling and long lining often clear the ocean floor of all life and destroy coral reefs. They also kill thousands of dolphins, sea turtles, sharks, and other bycatch animals. Coastal fish farms release feces, antibiotics, parasites, and non-native fish into sensitive marine ecosystems. In addition, since most farm fish are carnivores, they are fed massive quantities of wild-caught fish. For example, it takes up to 3 pounds of fish meal to produce every pound of farmed salmon. Lastly, let's take a look how meat production wastes a ton of water. First off, it takes an enormous amount of water to grow crops for farm animals to eat, clean filthy factory farms, and gives animals water to drink. A single cow used for milk can drink up to 50 gallons of water per day, or twice that amount on hot weather. And it takes above 600 gallons of water to produce just 1 gallon of milk. It takes more than 2,000 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef, while 1 pound of tofu only requires 244 gallons of water. By raising just one cow, you can be wasting thousands of gallons of water that could be used for other purposes. By going vegan, one person can save approximately 219,000 gallons of water in 1 year. But there are some solutions for these large problems. First off, sustainable feed sourcing is something that we can all do. We must raise all meat on feed from supplies verifiable, implementing practices to prevent agriculture, runoff pollution, soil erosion, and native ecosystem clearance across their supply chain. Also, enrolling in nutrient optimization plan will prevent excess fertilizer applications and will reduce the amount of chemicals released from farms. Simply reducing the amount we go sightseeing and taking souvenirs like coral reefs can benefit the ocean, and reducing the amount we go fishing and ruining the oceanic ecosystem can help the ocean heavily as well. For water, we need to reduce the amount we buy meat or find replacements like tofu or Beyond Meat. Although this price may be expensive, our Earth is too valuable to lose over one piece of meat. Thank you.
As we are nearing the end of our workshop today, we want to thank all of our speakers for presenting and also inspiring us in many different branches of sustainability. Every speech allowed for a new perspective to be viewed, and we are so appreciative we were able to understand all the ideas brought up today.
Additionally, we want to thank all of our participants for attending our workshop today. Please contact us at any of our social media handles if you have any questions about our organization. Thank you all again, and we hope you enjoyed our workshop.